everybody. I'm BJ Flag.
And I'm Rich G, and this is episode 302, Keeping a Watchful Eye on Your Vendors. Ah, keeping an eye on them, hiding at night.
Exactly. I know. But we have so many, we have fantastic vendors, Richard.
Yes.
And I know you do too.
Yeah.
We're always talking about the incredible relationships we have with our vendors, some over 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So I thought this episode is really awesome to kind of just wake yourself up about your relationship with your vendors. So you
Yeah.
can't beat it.
So when it comes to running a successful business, your vendors play a crucial role. They really do. I mean, if they went away tomorrow, like I always use the line, if they were hit by a bus tomorrow, you would be scrambling quickly. It's
Yeah.
scary how they could be such an impediment to your business instantly.
Yeah. And remember when we had the supply chain issues during the pandemic? Holy camoly. I mean, that was a blowout. And that really separated the two types of companies, those who could provide and had a successful backup plan and those who didn't. So, they provide services, goods, things you need to operate efficiently, and their reliability directly impacts yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So if they go down, you go down. So, however, ensuring your vendors remain in business and continue to offer services at reasonable prices requires a little bit of vigilance. You just need to keep an eye on them. You're not like overseeing them or butting in there and finding out. You just need to keep your eyes open all the time.
Right, right. Well, let's dive into our 4 steps to keep a watchful eye on everybody.
Well, step one is regular communication and relationship building. That's critical. Okay, so building a solid relationship with your vendors goes beyond the transactional. Regular communication is critical to understanding their business health and any challenges they might be facing. And like we said, during COVID, there were a lot of things people were facing and potential changes in the service offerings, or more importantly, their pricing.
Yeah. And, checking in regularly, asking them about their business, discuss your future needs. These are all things that create a very strong relationship that can provide insight that aren't publicly available and prompt vendors to inform you about changes that could affect your business and do it quickly. I was saying to Rich, we have a ton of vendors in the print industry, obviously. And with inflation, there's been a lot of uptick. There's been a lot of things going on. There's been the inability to get certain types of paper stock. And you have to be village just on it so that you are providing an incredible seamless service to every one of your clients.
Yeah.
Step number 2, monitor innovative enhancements. This is my favorite thing with vendors. You are only as good innovatively as your vendor partner keeps current and advancing with you technologically and with their contributions to your business. What are they doing proactively to enhance the relationship? And do they have an overall vision of the future? Like what your business is going to be doing? And then how can they get more entrenched or more involved with what we're doing?
Yeah, it's so important. I tell a lot of my clients to go to yearly conferences and expos to find out what new things are happening in your industry, what new techniques, tools, materials. And so you're on the up and up, and then talk to your vendors. Hey, I hear there's a new type of paper, or there's a new type of material or tool. Are you using this? And so it keeps them up to date too, because if you're not moving upwards with your business and your vendors are holding you down, that becomes a problem. So in the end, your
Yeah.
vendor needs to stay up with you. You don't need
Yeah.
to find out that they don't want to invest in their company and thus no longer be thought of as an ideal vendor for you. Think about how fantastic it is when they suggest a new product or service with their new offering, and you now have a great future together. That's the optimum state. So I'll be honest, you're going to have some vendors that are going to be stuck in the mud doing the same old stuff.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that I think BJ and I are talking about that you might need to look for other vendors as a backup.
Yeah. Very good point.
The next step is evaluate pricing regularly. Market conditions change, and so do the prices of goods and services. So you need to track all the pricing because you don't want to be hit with a huge increase and have to tell your client that. Regularly reassessing the pricing of your vendors ensures you're staying and still getting a fair deal for them. Research comparable vendors to see if their prices have gone up. If they've gone down, that's even better, or stayed the same.
And you might have to renegotiate, contracts periodically.
Yeah.
And in the printing side of our business, we in October we evaluate all of our printing relationships. They are well aware of it. People have been with us for a long time. We throw in new ones in the mix. We get an understanding of, to your point, what have they been doing to innovate and to provide new sources for us, and then we lock them in. We lock them in, and we have a little wiggle room. And we always say every quarter, tell us something, but don't spring anything on us. So it's a great relationship, and I think they appreciate it too.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. I have a lot of vendors that are electronic,
Yeah.
systems that send out my newsletter, Calendly that set up my calendar. I have lots of different systems. I'm constantly checking them because they have price increases, and I'm like, okay, and they sneak them in. And so you have to evaluate and go look at, well, are there other newsletter organizations like that are out there that could give me a better price or better systems or more functionality?
Yeah. We just had a 16% increase with Constant Contact. 1 month, moving it up to 16%. I
Yeah,
had probably 7 calls from clients who said, "What the?" And I said, "Yep." And I went back to Constant Contact and I said, "You're
yeah,
going to need to do something. We have 38 accounts with you." So it's crazy.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm
Now,
gonna
what's our
I'm
step
gonna
four?
cultivate a vendor backup plan. You mentioned this before, Rich, and I can't agree with you more. Even in the best oversight and relationship management, unforeseen circumstances can affect your vendor's ability to provide goods and services. It's essential to have a backup plan in place and be able to, really react as quickly as you can. Developing relationships with alternate vendors is not cheating. It's not cheating. You should do that. You should have people kind of in your bench on warm up. If you can, diversify your vendor portfolio so that you're not so reliant on the one single supplier and, for an essential good or service. You mentioned a person who you thought you became the the smaller of their accounts. And all of a sudden they started treating you differently. That was weird.
And it's interesting. I always say, I tell my clients, be fickle with vendors. You need to keep your eye on your vendors, but the minute they start acting hinky, they start raising prices, they start not doing well, they start complaining a lot, they start having supply chain issues. You need to have a backup plan. And
Yeah.
always, and it's cultivating, like BJ said, cultivating that relationship and maybe using two. I'm actually looking at that right now. I'm being very candid with a vendor that I use, and I'm actively looking for a second vendor. Not because they're doing a bad job, but if they ever went out of business or decided not
Mhm.
to do, I'd be like scrambling. So
Yeah, yeah, not worth it. And really that level of diversification will ensure that you've got an option. You've got this fallback option. And in the case of a vendor that you've been working with for a very long time, I get it. You have a long relationship, but this is your business and you
yeah.
can't be left out in the cold. We are going with a resource today that is off topic a bit. It's off topic a bit. This is a great book that Rich and I kind of just came upon, which is called Build Your Community. Turn your connections into a powerful online community. So many times people are thinking in real life, but we also want you to think about your online community. This is by Richard Milliton, and he's he's a really interesting thinker, don't you think, Rich?
And I love his first name. A powerful customer community will help you scale customer support and help you attract customers. And in relation to vendors, if you have a great community out there, not only local community, but online community, when you're looking for new vendors, this is going to make it so much easier. And just instead of going on Facebook
Oh
and
yeah,
go, does anybody know a good printer? You've
right.
built up that community and you've probably met 4 or 5 printers, and you can call them up and just say, hey, I'd like to get some pricing on this, just to find
Yeah.
out, what kind of printer, what's their turnaround, that sort of thing.
Yeah. He does definitely get into the world of psychology and having to do with user experience and design thinking and all that kind of stuff. But he's really talking about wanting to share strategies and principles and tactics that are going to be invaluable to your business. So pick it up. It's a great read. I think everybody's going to enjoy it.
Absolutely. And that's it for this week. You can reach out to me at richg.com, and you can find BJ at newrenew.com.
Thanks to our editor and producer, Richard Scalzo, who makes everything happen.
And have an unbelievable week, and catch you later.